Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Get the Shot, brought to you by Tamron Australia. My name is Joe Orchard, I'm your host today. With me today is Melanie Warnaar. She was the runner-up on the creative category for Australian Photographer of the Year. We've got the magazine over there in the background. Unfortunately, Melanie can't see it because of the webcam, but trust me, it's there. We're going to talk about that photo, her style, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be a really, really good chat. Melanie, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
How did you get started with photography?
Photography's always been around me. My dad was a photographer. So I remember getting yelled at as I go into the red light room, which was the dark room many years ago, and the smell of all the chemicals and things. So it was always around me. I'd always taken an interest in it, but never got involved myself until uh, recently. Late 2021, my husband decided to buy a secondhand DSLR, and he wanted to, go out and practice photography. And I sort of followed behind with my phone camera and quickly realized that I wasn't really cutting it. No one to be in on this action. So next thing we're in a camera shop, and I brought my first mirrorless camera, and that got me started. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. I haven't changed. It's just
Oh,
addicted.
absolutely. What type of photos did your dad take?
So my dad did a lot of portraits. He did some models. He used to photograph me a lot. And and then he also did some product shoots. He did a lot of product shooting, and his last job that he retired from, he was involved with the marketing and doing the photo shoots for the equipment that they were selling there. So he did very well for himself with it in the end. Yeah, so
That's quite interesting because you, on one of your Instagram pages, do a little bit of portraits and lifestyle stuff there. So the apple hasn't fallen too far from the tree.
yes, and he's given me some lessons on lighting and flash, and he's very strict. He's very precise in the way he likes things done. He's very much a perfectionist. So when he teaches me, he's really tough on me.
Good tough or bad tough?
Oh, he's nice, he's gentle, but he's like, Melanie, you know better than that.
Don't worry, my parents were a bit the same. It's all good. A lot of your photography, as it pertains to your current work, there's a lot of nature shots and animals, and even in particular birds. So, how did you fall into that niche?
I'm a crazy bird woman. I love birds.
Oh yeah.
I always have, and I've got pet birds. I've got two cockatiels at home, which aren't very good at letting me photograph them. Um, but just the challenge of capturing birds, like when you get a bird in flight or doing some sort of action of eating or something exciting that's different from just a portrait photo of a bird, it's just it's a bit of a challenge, and it's a real thrill when you do get that shot because you're just like, yes, got it. When you look in the back of your camera and just pray that when you get home and put it on the big screen, that it's still as good. Um, but yeah, to get them in flight like you can't predict them, and it's just a challenge, and it gets me out in the open, gets me walking, looking. I think they're just such an elegant animal. I really think they're very, very beautiful and lovely to photograph.
Is it mainly birds that you're interested in, or animals as a whole, or just.
Pretty much all nature. All of it gets my curiosity, but birds are probably on the top of my list for sure.
Let's talk about your photo now. Tall white trunks. Really, really interesting looking. And I mean this in the best way possible. It doesn't look anything else like in your collection. It's so unique and remarkable and different from what you normally do. So tell me the story of that photo.
Yep. So we were actually on holidays up at Urunga, and I wanted to see this wetlands, and we sort of just got to our accommodation, dropped over there, did I walk around and it was sort of falling on blue hour, and it I just kept getting drawn to the tree trunks and how they were elongated, like really long, and the reflection in the water just made them look even more longer. And just looking at it and the contrast of the lilies in the water, and I thought, oh, just looking at it, I thought, oh, if I just do a little flick of my camera and do the intentional camera movement, that'll smooth it all out and make it look really dreamy. So I played around with that and obviously got it. But I wanted to do it as refined as I could so you could still make out what it was. Um, but yeah, it was a risky photo. I hold back on that sort of thing because I'm afraid that people don't enjoy it or like it. Um, and yeah, I'm just a little bit scared to show it, to be honest.
Why do you think people may not like it?
It's not to everyone's taste, but I have received really good response from it, obviously. Um, I like it personally for me, and just the color and the texture that's in there is what I was after. And I love the
Absolutely.
creative play with photography. So I do experiment a bit, but a lot of it doesn't make it to my page yet. Or although coming runner up has certainly given me a bit more confidence to allow myself to be a bit more out there with what I like doing. So.
Awesome. Is it mainly with your creative works like that? Is it still nature related, or do you try and incorporate the birds into that, or how does that all work?
Oh, that's what I want to do. I've got this vision in my mind of doing something with a bird and its beautiful feathers and wings and that capturing that movement, but still having enough focus to make out the face and the body maybe. Um, but yeah, I need to sit down the park and probably spend hours playing with that to get it right. I have had a bit of a go and I've got a bit of an idea of how to go about it, but yeah, definitely inspired to do a lot more of it and be a bit more creative, even with the landscapes as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With your catalogue of photos, you've got heaps of wonderful bird photos, heaps of wonderful landscape photos. There's even one photo of lightning that I saw on your page that I really like. I have a friend who used to really like when there was a storm on, we had to rush back. We were in Painesville at the time, just so we could like get photos of the storm. Why then did you want to submit in the creative category when you have this amazing catalogue of animal and landscape photography?
Felt I wanted to put something different in. At the time, I did ask, I just liked the photo, and said to my husband, "What do you think?" And he looked at the photo, looked at me, and went, "I feel a bit cross-eyed." I thought, oh, that's not the response I want. So of course I printed it on paper and I ran over to my best friend and said, "What do you think? What do you think?" And she got her mum and her sister on the phone, which are good friends as well, and they all loved it. And it gave me the courage to put it in. I wanted to enter the, the 2025 year and do better than I did the previous year, which I entered some brumbies that I caught on camera. And I got a highly commended for that. So I was just aiming to do better than that, and I never dreamt that I'd come runner up. So I feel very, very privileged.
Talk to me a bit more about your portrait work, and is it harder to shoot people or birds?
Oh, that's a good question. I think people are hard. Um, like you can set up your camera settings and your lighting and all that, but people's expectations and being comfortable and relaxed in front of the camera can be really challenging at times. Um, but as a photographer, you got to know how to handle that, I suppose, and make the person feel comfortable. And I enjoy doing more candid because people
Hmm.
aren't aware that I'm around, and that seems to gel with me really well. Um, and I'm quite observant, so candid works really well for me. Where the birds, it's just waiting and watching and waiting and watching, and yeah, there's a lot of times you come away with nothing, and it's just all part of it. But you just got to enjoy being out there, I think.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned that you prefer being candid because suddenly taking photos of people and birds becomes very similar. You're waiting for the right moment for a person to take flight, or no, I'm kidding, but
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
It's yeah, you get them making that move on the floor, dance floor, or laughing or cuddling up together or taking a selfie. It's it's just life, and I think that's the joyous part of it, capturing life in one frame.
So is photography your full-time gig, or is it a how is it intertwined in your life?
So photography is still my hobby outside of my day job, unfortunately. Um, I do have a good day job, which I'll keep doing because it brings in the money and pays the bills.
Nice.
Um, but every breathing moment outside of that, I'm paying to get out with the camera. So or fiddling around with, editing software and seeing what I can create out of what I've taken. So
So paint me a picture. So it's, you've got your day off or you're not working. You've grabbed your camera, you're hopping in the car. What's the plan? Where are you going? What are you doing?
I've got a plan. I'm either going out, we've got a weir out where we live. It's quite often a good spot to go. We've got beautiful rivers all around us and bush. Um, Sometimes I'll do a hike up the hill and see what I can find up there, and or I'll just go to the little local park with the pond, see what birds are hanging around. Ducks can be pretty amusing sometimes. We've also we're really lucky. We've got a wetlands here that's um, it's amazing, and there's so much bird life and animal life in there that yeah, you can spend hours in there. But yeah, usually planning. Husband might go to work at 5 in the morning for on the weekend, and I'll say, oh, I'll get up and I'll get sunrise, or I'll get the fog in the morning, and I'll sort of plan where I want to go. But yeah, there's quite a few places I go, mostly out in the bush I like to go. But
Yeah. Is there a sense of peace that you get from being out there?
yeah, and it's just wandering around and yeah, looking and feeling, and I get some exercise, which is good. Keeps me
Fantastic.
fit.
I think a lot of photographers incidentally get really, really high step counts by accident.
And do lots of squats.
Oh, I know, right?
Got to get good at squatting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I just enjoy getting out, and it's anywhere and any time. We camp a lot too, so it's great. I'll roll out of the swag and just in my pajamas out anywhere and just start taking photos, but so I don't miss the opportunities. But
Being based in Albury and Wodonga and having all the access to those environments that you take photos in, do you think where you are has impacted your photography style um, greatly, or have you always sort of been into nature and wildlife, and that's the type of thing you wanted to get involved with?
it probably does have a bit of an impact, but I think for me, I've always hiked and gone camping, so I love being outdoors, and it's just natural to me to be out there in amongst the bush or by the water, and it just comes naturally. So uh, occasionally I go and visit family in Newcastle, and it's great. I get to hit the beach and try something new. So, but yeah, just being outdoors, I love it.
Has something ever gone wrong whilst you're out in nature getting photos?
It's not something that went wrong, but it's quite funny. I've got a friend who, in my very early days when I started out, she offered to take me out and teach me a few things. And since then, we've become photo buddies. We go out on these bushwalks, and she's a lot more adventurous than me. She has me climbing rocks and going under fences and all sorts. And one day we're walking along, we'd done this big bushwalk, and we'd sort of just walked through some long grass and got onto a bit of gravel road. And then next thing she's going to the left, and I'm thinking, oh, she's breaking out in Beyonce. What's going on? She, and then next thing, snake, snake. So next thing, she's on top of it taking photos, and I'm like, no, get away. But yeah, a few little close encounters like that. But I've been fortunate enough not to have any bad accidents with my gear or any bad things happen. I've been really fortunate. I am pretty cautious though.
So interesting that you mentioned that because when I was 14 or 15, I went on a school camp to Wodonga and we had just done rafting and we're sitting by the river having lunch and I just see a snake just sort of slithering up. And we were taught the whole time, if you see a snake, say something, alert instantly. But I was just watching and enamored by its movement, and it was so graceful. And I'm like, that's a beautiful snake. And I'm like, that's a snake. And so I had to,
It
I
doesn't
called it
click
out,
at
and
first, does it?
oh yeah, yeah. Turns out it was a brown snake, so
Oh no.
um, thank God I called that one out. Do you have any goals, or is there a type of photo that you're trying to take?
So at the moment, I'm fairly focused on the landscapes and still on nature. I can't ignore the birds flapping around me, unfortunately. But focused on landscapes and a little bit of abstract. So I'm sort of focusing on my long exposures um, and movement with low shutter speeds, and I'm sort of playing around with all that now. I'm just trying to, and also focusing on light patterns and shapes, just to make my photos have a bit more oomph and to be a bit different um, to
Yeah,
everyday mainstream, I suppose. Hmm.
of course. I think that requires a lot of patience to do that sort of stuff. There's a lot of trial and error. And so, were you always a patient person like that, or is this a sort of learnt skill?
I believe I've always been a pretty patient person. I can sit and fiddle with things for hours. Um, I've always had something on the go, even when I was younger, before I got into photography, to be a craft or something along those lines, fiddling with my hands. And yeah, I'm pretty patient.
Oh, that's very good. You're more patient than me. I haven't tried anything like that yet. Light painting is something I'm curious about, but
Oh,
I'll have to see how that goes.
it's good
Um,
fun.
you've done it before?
Yeah, oh, my husband's so good. When we've gone camping one day, I said, "Oh, I want to try out light painting." And we didn't have a light or anything that was suitable. So he lit up a stick in the fire and spun that around, and we got photos of that. It's great. You got this big ball of fire and these feet hanging out from underneath. But it's good fun. And yeah, he's great. He'll always have a go at things like that for me and support me, which is great.
I'll have to introduce you to Dennis Smith, who we've had on the podcast previously, but he does lots of light painting work. He's quite remarkable.
Ah, I'll have to
I'll
check
um,
it out for
I'll,
sure.
I'll send you his website. You'll be quite amazed by it.
It's
Um,
amazing what people can do.
yeah, absolutely. Are there many photographers in the Albury-Wodonga area?
There is a good photography community here. Through our local arts museum, they run classes there, and I did do three short courses there with Ben, and who's a fabulous teacher there. But they met a lot of wonderful people through there, and then I've gone on and done some workshops through our Albury photography group, which has had a lot of good involvement. And then I've recently joined our local camera club, which has a pretty strong community too, and it's a very varied age too, which is great. So you've got your older ones, your middle age, and your younger. So you get a real good variety when you're sitting in the meetings, and they obviously have outings and things, and events. So yeah, I would say the photography community here is quite strong. It's quite good.
We often have a lot of involvement in BFOP, the Bright Festival of Photography, and so it's
Yeah.
always interesting to see people come from different corners of Australia to that. Have you been yourself?
That,
Yeah, I did my first one not last year, the year before, and I found it really good. It's amazing. You go to Brighton, it's just full of people walking around with cameras. It's
It's pretty exciting.
yeah.
yeah, and I actually learnt some things in a couple of those workshops that I still carry in and use today. So I definitely felt got the value out of it, and I didn't participate as much in the other things that went on in the festival, but from what I can see and what other people have told me, it's a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed it. I'd be happy to do it again. I'm trying to con someone to come along and do it with me again. So
Absolutely. Take the snake friend.
yeah.
I'm not calling them a snake, by the way. I know that phrasing sounded a little bit precarious.
Yeah. No, she actually came to that one with me, so we did a lot of the workshops together.
Oh, brilliant.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so and when I started out, she was the friend that showed me around the wetlands and told me what to look out for. And her classic thing that we still laugh about today is now you've got to watch out for your dirty skirts, which is all the junk in the background.
Okay.
So we quite often have this running joke of, we'll see a scene and we'll go, oh wow, and then we'll go, nah, dirty skirts, and I'll go, yeah, too much junk in the trunk, and just have a good old laugh as we walk along.
When it comes to doing nature stuff, how important is knowing the land compared to like technical capabilities and using the camera itself?
Quite often when I go places, I don't know what I'm in for, so I don't
Yeah.
really know the land. Geographically, I'm a bit sad. I'm not very good geographically. So quite often I'm winging it when I go these places. So yeah, I need to be switched on and know my camera and know different processes I can do to make something look good. And different light too, because I'm not always ideally out there at sunrise and sunset. Sometimes it's in the middle of the day, or so I need to be adaptable. And I go out no matter what time of the day because I want to be able to take a good photo any time of the day. I don't want just sunrises and sunsets, but yeah, geographically I'm not great. So I'd say technically I
Fair enough.
have to be switched on.
What advice would you give to someone who's trying to get more into bird, nature, and landscape photography?
I'm trying to practice this myself too. It's just to take your time, absorb what's going on around you, feel everything. Look for your leading lines and look for your framing and listen and look at shadows, especially with birds. You're looking out for shadows, noise, anything to alert you as to where a bird might be. Um, but yeah, looking at the environment and observing, things that could be leading lines or shadows that could frame something, or just give yourself a time to explore and really soak it in. Um, I find if I do that, I'll get more emotion out of my photos than just taking a straight up photo of seeing something, um, which can fall flat sometimes if I haven't, observed all those things like shadows and light. So
Is there I'm sort of jumping back a little bit, is there a favorite bird that you like to photo?
I love white cranes. I think they're so
Yeah.
elegant with their big long necks. And they've got such a wide feather stand on them too. But yeah, they're beautiful. They're a beautiful bird, but there's so many.
Yeah, right. When I was in Japan over New Year's, I was walking in Dotonbori in Osaka, and just sitting on the edge of the river was a heron. And
Oh,
similar to sort of a crane, it's sort of lanky and funny looking, and not
I'm
funny
thinking,
looking, sorry, beautiful and elegant, but sort of like strange proportions, I guess is what I'll say, but like sort of beautiful at the same time. And at one point, it just took off and flew, but I'm like, that's a lot of mass to carry and lift up. But yeah, I've got a couple photos of it. I just had my phone on me, and this is a really disappointing thing, but the current phone I have, the camera is actually a downgrade to the previous phone camera that I had. So I'm not quite a fan of the photos I take on my phone at the moment.
oh no, that's always tough, isn't it? Yeah, I'm never really happy with photos on my phone either.
I know, right? I reckon you and I could go on and on and on about the quality of phone cameras.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not the same when you got your fancy lenses on. Although my lenses
Absolutely.
are old, but
Well, if they ain't broke, keep using them.
If
yeah,
you're taking care of them.
they were my father's lenses. Yeah, he had the L series of the Canon lenses. Um, so yeah,
Cool.
they're about 25 years old and they're still going strong. So
Oh,
it's good.
amazing. Mel, the way we like to wrap up this podcast is that I ask you a question that was left by the previous guest. And so this is a bit of fun, yeah. So the question for you today is, and I'm just going to read it so I get the phrasing exactly right. Do you think photography is a way of understanding oneself or escaping oneself?
I think it's understanding oneself. I know photography for me is my mindfulness activity. It's could say escape because it's my escape from, or it's my outlet from all the pressures and stress in working life and commitments. Um, so it's definitely my outlet, mm, but I'm not escaping who I am. It's probably more true to who I am. So yeah,
What have you learnt about yourself in engaging with photography?
I've learnt. I think I was always observant. However, I'm a lot more observant now and a lot more appreciative of my environment and things around me. Have a lot more respect for it, and it's just opened my whole world. I see things in a different light. Like when we're driving along in the car, I'm looking and observing and seeing things I just took for granted before, like the light or a certain tree or a certain bird or um, so yeah, and that brings me a lot of joy. It's really good.
That's so beautiful. Well, unfortunately, we will have to wrap this up now. But Mel, it's been an absolutely wonderful conversation with you. I've learned so much about nature and birds. We were coming up with ideas for a video series, and someone goes bird photography. We have to talk about bird photography, and now I know why it's so nuanced and interesting. So thank you for Oh yeah, thank you for giving me that insight and interest there. And congratulations again on getting the runners-up prize on the Australian Photographer magazine.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
Very
your
welcome.
time.
No, that's all right. Appreciate yours. If you want to find out what Mel asks our next guest, tune in next week to find out. But thank you again for watching, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.